So I think it's just from Miss Mehran's side.
Okay, we are live now. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم النبيين وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: إن في قتل الحسين حرارة في قلوب المؤمنين لن تبرد أبدا. Dear sisters, Assalamu alaikum. As
Walaikum
you all know
assalam.
that we are heading towards the Ebrahim of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Hussain ibn Ali, the grandson of the Prophet of Islam, an icon of resistance against oppression, tyranny, and injustices. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the hero of the Prophets and Ahlul Bayt, who made the ultimate stand against the despotic ruler Yazid ibn Muawiyah. A topic of discussion is Hussain inspires us. We will try to discuss the importance of martyrdom of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and its impact in our society. How we can learn the lessons of courage and patience from Imam Hussain and his companions in modern days against tyrant rulers as oppressed and downtrodden people all around the world. For this purpose, Imamia Student Organization Pakistan, Girls Wing, Karachi Division welcomes you all in the discussion among the representatives of student organizations and movements who have vast knowledge and practical experiences of revolutionary work all around the world. Introducing our very diverse panelists, first of all, we have Ms. Mahjobeh Akhavan Aghdam. She is from Eduardo Agnelli Islamic Association based in Iran. She holds a master's degree in artificial intelligence. Their work is to promote the Islam and mainly they are working on their roots. Another panelist we have is from Lebanon, Ms. Sada Ahmed. She is a legal consultant and had worked with different organizations. And now we have Ms. Masooma Zaidi, head of Who is Hussain, represent Pakistan chapter. Another panelist we have is Ms. Narjis Zehra. She is Central Vice President of Imamia Student Organization Pakistan Girls Wing. She has done her master's in industrial electronics. I welcome you all. My very first question is from Ms. Mahjobeh. What are the factors, in your opinion, through which we analyze that why this massacre had took place, particularly talking about the tragedy of Karbala?
In the name of Allah, I think that the main reason that Imam Hussain goes to Karbala, it was to choose the right path. He showed us that if we knows the right path and we knows the real meaning of Islam, and we believe that we are living in this world temporarily, we would do whatever we can to support our beliefs. I think Imam Hussain showed us that in the way of Allah, nothing can stop us. Even if your number are very few and nobody came to your companion and to help you, you can stand against the wrong part of the wrong side. I think if we shows the real power like Imam Hussain, everything would be in a good place and we have the nice future for our people, I mean Muslim world, and for all around the world, for all of the people, because we're Muslims and our ideals it's to live better, to be kind with all of the people in all around the world and live healthier. We don't want peace for just few people. We want it for all of the people. So if we continue the path like Imam Hussain and never get tired in the middle of the way, everything can happen in a good place.
Okay, thank you. The main factor you are saying through which we analyze that why this massacre took place is to choose the right path. Now
Yes.
moving towards Miss Narjis Zehra, I just want to ask you that why the uprising of Imam Hussain alayhi salam is not just an issue of fighting and resisting. What is the uniqueness in the tragedy of Karbala? Miss Narjis, your mic is mute.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. First of all, thank you very much for letting me being a part of this panel discussion, sharing this platform with all these amazing people. Coming back to your question, Ms. Seher, the Battle of Karbala is undoubtedly the most unique war. It is, I guess, the struggle in the history of mankind. Imam Hussain used basically two methods to carry out this program of Amr bil Maruf and Nahi Anil Munkar. That two methods are Ishq and Aql, the reason and love. It is a fusion of Ishq and Aql. People from the Tasawwuf background believe that love and reason do not come along together, but Imam Hussain, in the tragedy of Karbala, beautifully explains all of this. Now, coming back to the question that why Karbala is eternal, there are so many wars, there are so many battles in the history that took place that are filled with the tragedy and sorrow, but nothing could remain eternal. It is only the tragedy of Karbala that is after 1400 years, it is still remembered.
Okay. Uh, I welcome Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky in our program, and she's a student leader in Nigeria, and she's a daughter of Sheikh Ebrahim Zakzaky. Salamun alaikum. I hope you can hear me, Ms. Suhaila.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for
Alaikum salam.
having me.
My next question is to you, Ms. Masooma Zaidi, that as a companion of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and also himself had martyred in the desert of Karbala. So how can his movement be judged as a success? Ms. Masooma?
I'm sorry, Sahar, can you please repeat the question? There was a
Sure,
problem with
I
the
will.
internet in the middle.
Okay, okay. That we have seen as the all of the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and even also himself has martyred in the desert of Karbala. So how can his movement be judged as a success?
Very, very good question, I must say. But before that, I would like to say thanks to Imamia Student Organization for organizing this program and for having us. And really, it's a very constructive step taken towards towards the constructive working and the joint movements that we can have in the future. So your question is that how, despite the fact that Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his beloved people, the people around him, his companions, his family members, they were martyred in the desert of Karbala. And not only this, his own family members, the ladies of the respectful haram, were imprisoned as well. So still, we consider this entire movement of Karbala as a success. For me, the standard of success is the fact that despite the fact this whole tragedy took place 1400 years ago in a desert of Karbala, 1400 years ago, still it is very relevant to us. A lot of people still cry over the martyrdom of Imam Hussain. Still, even if you are not a Muslim, you are still crying over the martyrdom of Imam Hussain. not Muslim, even if someone is not Muslim, they can still relate to the values for which Imam Hussain stood for which Imam Hussain gave. The fact that Karbala is timeless, and the fact that Imam Hussein's stand is unique in every single person, be it a common layman, he can relate to the stands and the values of Imam Hussain. This is the fact that makes Karbala still a success, and not only a success, Karbala is alive in our hearts, and it should be alive in our actions as well.
Karbala is timeless. Karbala is alive in our hearts. Moving towards Miss Sada, I just want to ask you how Karbala defines the importance of one's paradigm in order to achieve our goals. Miss Sada, please unmute your mic. I think Ms. Sarah has left due to some technical issues. Moving towards Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky, I just want to ask you, when we talk about Imam Hussein's alayhi salam's commitment to justice and liberation, what do you have meant to say?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to participate in this webinar. I think it is it's a very important step towards being able to work as collectively in spreading the message of Imam Hussain and also in remembering the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. I do think that when we think about the commitment of Imam Hussain to speaking against injustice, he went out on his journey, which ended up in them being martyred in Karbala. Whether he went out to fix what he saw was wrong in the ummah. Not necessarily, he even made a statement saying that he did not go out, in hope to achieve necessarily anything worldly or for his own ego. He went out only to fix what is wrong in the ummah. And he proved that by actually willing to sacrifice his life, which he ended up doing, and his family entirely, even though, I'm sure there could have been a very easy path, let's say, if they decided to say, oh, we'll just follow the people that were in power at the time or something of that nature. It was very possible that he could have lived peacefully and not have to have any headache and not have to watch his family be massacred or he himself be killed, you understand? So it is something that is it's very inspiring for our lives today as well. That also points to us that, nothing in this world is it's important if we will not be able to stand up and do for what is right, you understand? We have to be able to stand up for what is right, no matter what the cost may be it our lives, be it our families, be it everything we own or our homes. And I think that is what comes to mind when you talk about the sacrifice of Imam Hussain, or his commitment to justice.
Like, to fix what is wrong, what cost it might get, we have to commit it to justice. Ms. Sada, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. My question is, Ms. Sarah, can you hear me? My question is to you is how Karbala defines the importance of one's paradigm in order to achieve our goals. Ms. Sada, are you there? Okay, I'm throwing the same questions to Ms. Mahjobeh. Will you please answer this?
Yes, I think Imam Hussein showed us that if our goal is God pleasant, nothing can stop us on the right path. I think that Imam Hussein's movement showed us that everything in this world is temporary and only our action remains. Imam Hussein has been murdered 14 100 years ago. But nowadays, lots of people in this world are talking about him, and he is our model through our life. It means that our actions remain in through the history. And if we want to do the right thing, as my sister Miss Zakzaky said, we should do it. Um, and no matter how we should do it at all costs. I mean, no matter that you're young or your family is with you, if you believe that if you believe in other in akhirah, I say, in other world, you should do whatever it costs to uh, follow the right path. Imam Hussein believed that the right path is Islam, and the principle of Islam should be remained for the other person in the history. And if he didn't uh, do the Karbala, I mean, if he weren't go to Karbala, we wouldn't be here like this. I mean, the Islam uh, would disappear. And he did it because of us and other people in through the history. And I think our task as a Muslim is follow his path, the Islam path, so can we can mm, um, we have this kind of action, and in the history our action will remain.
I got your point that in history your actions will remain, and for getting the greater goal, you have to sacrifice everything, either your family and either yourself.
Yes.
Moving towards Miss Masooma again, how you may analyze the saying of Imam Hussain alayhi salam that if you do not believe in any religion, at least be free spirited and honest in your actions. Miss Masooma, can you hear me? Miss Masooma?
Yeah, this is one of the most beautiful commandment of Imam Hussain. And as far as the books of history are concerned, Imam Hussain at the time of yes, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Yes, Miss Masooma, you are audible.
Hello, am I audible?
You are audible.
Okay, so I was saying that this particular hadith of Imam Hussain is one of the most beautiful commandment of Imam Hussain, and as per the books of history, at the time Imam Hussain was addressing the force of Yazid. He had said this to them, that even if you don't believe in any religion, at least be free in this world, at least be free spirited in this world. So the beauty of this particular saying of Imam Hussain is the fact that you don't really have to be a Muslim in order to be a Hussaini. I mean that if any of the person, if being a human being, if you believe in the values that were put forward by Imam Hussain, and if you believe in the cause of humanity, if you are daring enough to raise the voice of truth before the oppressor, you can be a Hussaini. So in order to be successful, even if you don't believe in the religion of Islam, you at least should be successful. So Imam Hussain has laid down the rules of life for us, being a human. And this is the fact that the cause of Imam Hussain, the struggle of Imam Hussain, and the entire movement of Karbala is relatable to a common human being as well. And this is one of the prime reason that our campaign, if I talk about this campaign, Who is Hussain, people from multiple walks of life, they can relate to the message of Imam Hussain, and they are joining in. They are interested to know who this man was and why was he killed. What was the stand that he took, that he preferred to give his life for his values, not only his own life, he preferred to give sacrifice the life of his beloved people as well. So Imam Hussein's sayings are so much relatable to the common people, that even if you do not believe in the religion, even if you don't believe in the day of resurrection, at least be free in this world. At least be truthful in this world. At least be brave enough to take a stand against social injustice in your own society, and at least be true to your own self. You should set some kind of values for your own self, and then follow that thing in your heart. So this hadith basically inspires me to be a Hussaini first in my own capacity, then go and preach Hussaini to anyone else. And with this very fact, this hadith can bring in a revolution on the micro level within a common man, that may lead up to a revolution on the macro level, or maybe on a mass level.
Right. Anyone can be Hussaini if they are free spirited, even if they are not Muslims, even they do not believe in the day of judgment, but they can be free spirited and should live their life against oppression and against injustices. Moving towards Ms. Mahjobeh, I would like to ask you that we have seen that, as Zehra Muazzam Sayyid Ali Khamenei said, there is a movement progressing across the world through leadership of Hussain ibn Ali. What is the power of Ebrahim in this regard?
Arba'in, I think, is the valuable time to introduce Islam to the other people, because Arba'in is the largest gathering held in the world, and this gathering attracts the lots of attention of the people all around the world. They might ask themselves why all these people came together. And this question and this attention is the best time to introduce the real image of Islam, because as you know, because of ISIS and other sort of groups that the Muslims do not show very well in the world, and they think us as killers, murderers who kill people, and especially kids and women. And this Arba'in and this gathering can shows the real image of Islam, because the cameras and the media cannot omit these gatherings. And this is the best time to show the mercy that the Muslims have together. And unfortunately, we don't have that much big Arba'in this year, but Arbain is I think the best time to show the Imam Hussein's goals and the Islam for all the people all around the world.
Right. That Arba'in introduces Islam to the world and the positive side of Shiaism that has been deeply affected by due to the Islamophobia created by terrorists. Okay, now moving towards Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky. In the sanctuary, how we may extend the movement of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, specifically the message of confronting oppressive, corrupted regimes.
I believe that as it is quite clear that Imam Hussein, his the incidents of Ashura overall, or the incidents in Karbala, was something that happened because Imam Hussein and his family set out to correct what is wrong. I'd say that it's no different from today. I mean, it may take different shapes if you think about it at different points in time, even throughout history, looking at how people stood up to oppression. It may take different shape because it's different types of oppression coming from different entities, obviously. But it is the same thing in the sense that we do have to speak against what is wrong, no matter what it may be and wherever it may be, and we may have to act on correcting what is wrong as well. Again, in whatever capacity that may be, because speaking about global oppression, that's very, I think it's a complex thing, considering if you look at every specific place, there's a different shape that it takes. The problems take different shapes in different places. For example, currently in Nigeria, for ourselves in our case, we do have an oppressive system, and we do have the injustices, but the route in which we are, you know, speaking out against that is by protesting, which is at this point in time in our situation the best possible thing we can do. Whereas if we look to other places, it may look different. But what stays the same is that what is wrong should be corrected, no matter how that may be. If it is by speaking, if it is through actions, if it is through spreading awareness of what is right, not necessarily even from criticism. It can take different shapes, but it is something that I think is more than clear that if we want to call ourselves people who look to Imam Hussain as an inspiration or as an example, we have to emulate that in our lives in different forms, but it will be very specific to whatever we're facing and where we are at and what is possible to be done, I believe.
Okay. You mainly mean just to correct what is wrong. Whatever the mean you have, whatever the direction in you are working, you just have to correct what is wrong. Now my question is to Ms. Masooma, that how we may deliver it to the world that the life of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his non-parallel sacrifice is to uphold the true humanitarian principles, justice and impartiality. They are not only beacons of Muslim and Islam, but his exemplary character has been a source of inspiration for followers of other faiths as well.
To respond to this question, I will begin with a very famous quote of Mahatma Gandhi, who is one of the most inspirational leader, especially of the Hinduism. Mahatma Gandhi said that I learned from Hussain how to be successful whilst being oppressed. So, um, as I said earlier as well, that this is the beauty of the stand of Imam Hussain in Karbala and the entire movement of Karbala that was led by Imam Hussain and then later on by Lady Zainab. So, this is the beauty of this campaign, that this campaign and this entire movement is multifaceted, firstly. Secondly, it inspires us on so many levels. You, as I earlier said, you really don't have to be a Muslim in order to relate to the tragedy of Imam Hussain or the challenges that were faced by Imam Hussain. You really don't need to be a Muslim first. So, being a human first is necessary to be a Hussaini. So, as I said, that there are multiple leaders of the world who got inspired from Imam Hussain, and they brought upon a revolution on their own levels in their own respective, be it their countries or be it the areas that they lived in. So, in the same way, if we, being the followers of Imam Hussain, we call ourselves the ambassadors of Hussainiyat, it's a high time for us that we propagate the message of Imam Hussain to the common people, the people who really don't know who Hussain was, why he took the stand in Karbala, why did he sacrifice his own life for us.
It is important to propagate the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Bring my next question to Ms. Narjis. What practical lessons do we as a community take from Sayyida Zainab's immense contribution to humanity? How well do we appreciate the monumental impact she made on the establishment of our faith and implications that we have in our lives today?
After the tragic event of Karbala, we all know that it was Janab Zainab who stood against Yazid. She was the one who helped, who uh, stand beside Imam Zainul Abidin, the fourth Imam. If it was not Janab Zainab, we can imagine what would happen to the message of Karbala. It was definitely Janab Zainab who stood against Yazid and propagate the message of Imam Hussain to the history. It was Janab Zainab. And coming back to the next part of your question, that what practical lessons we get from Janab Zainab as a woman now, still we are facing a lot of problems. People think that women are weak, women can't do anything. Janab Zainab proves that the women are stronger than the people think. So I think that Janab Zainab, as a strong lady, proves that we should stand against the evil.
Okay, we
I
should
believe
stand
that.
against the evil. This is the message of Janab Zainab Salamullah alayha. Miss Sarah, can you hear me now?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. I'm hearing you.
Wa alaikum assalam. My question is to you that how Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his companions defines the importance of one's paradigm to achieve their goals. Ms. Sada, my question is to you that how Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his companions defines the importance of one's paradigm in order to achieve their goals. Ms. Sarah might have lost internet connection. Okay, so moving towards Ms. Suhaila, how we can actually connect to the slogan of Hubbul Hussain Yajma'una, that we are belonging to different countries, working in different dimensions, but for the same ultimate goal. How can we coordinate together as a revolutionary student organization to achieve greater global goals?
I believe that one of the ways that we can, relate to that slogan that you mentioned is that we can, for example, as people who consider ourselves all followers of Imam Hussain and all followers of Ahlul Bayt and all Muslims altogether, at the very least, I believe, the saying that the hadith that says, anyone who wakes up and not care about the situation of Muslims is something that comes to mind. Because for the most part, we have to be at first aware of what our brothers and sisters everywhere are, what the situation is with everyone, what is going on, what are the progresses being made, what is the problems people are facing, what is just overall the news of our brothers and sisters throughout the Islamic Ummah. And also overall, if we want to look at it as a whole, generally care about what the state of humanity is. And that is a first step before we can think of what we can do together in order to do something. Because, being aware tells us about what, being aware of what's going on with everyone might tell us what we are capable of doing to help. My father always mentions something, especially during the month of Muharram and all the way into the month of Safar during the Majalis. He always says, you have to look at, when you come to these majalis and when you go, it should remind you to look at the world and look at yourself as well, because every person, every individual has something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them, has gifted them with, which is their ability to, there's something that you have been gifted with, which will be your ability to, this is what you can contribute basically. And so knowing what everyone else is going through, or knowing what's going on everywhere, will give us a better understanding of what we are capable of doing if we are going to even get our heads together to reach a certain goal in different points in time for different reasons, you understand, for different causes, for example. I think that is basically the first step towards it. But I think it's also very important, as you mentioned anyway, the coming together of different, Muslim groups, basically Muslim organizations or Muslim communities or societies in different places to achieve a common goal, and one of them being primarily of unity. Without that, we can't achieve really anything else. And I think that's a very pressing issue even today in the entire Muslim Ummah. The issue of unity is very pressing, and I think we have to make it a priority in our minds. And yes, this is a time that brings up something that reminds us of the importance of that unity when we look at the teachings of Imam Hussain.
What we can do for unity as a student organization?
I believe something like this is a start, and I believe that having potentially planned, having potentially something like bringing together different Muslim organizations to figure out what we can collectively do is also a thing that can be done. Obviously, right now we're talking about we're talking about this because it's we're around the occasion of Arba'in, but also this is something that we, for example, find something that we can figure out lessons from, and it continues throughout the year. In every year, we have different points in time that we can all converge, for example, whereby we can have something that we get to learn from each other, and also potentially have collective goals that we can reach, but only in creating collaborations as such, by bringing together these organizations and coming up with things that we can do for the Muslim Ummah at large, be it in educating people or spreading awareness of whatever message that may be, or anything that could be something that we need to do, let's say, actionably.
Okay, I just got your point. Throwing my very similar question to Ms. Narjis, that how important it is for us as a students organization to connect together and to build up good relations under the banner of Hubbul Hussainiyat Rana, to achieve greater targets and to accelerate the global revolutionary movements. What would be the very first step we can take in this regard? Ms. Narjis, your mic is muted.
I'm really sorry. As Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky said, that as a student organization, this is the very first step that we have taken um, for taking a step towards
Ms. Narjis, can you hear me? I think Ms. Narjis has got some connection issues. Throwing my same question to Ms. Mahjobeh. What would be the very first step we could take in this regard?
I think we as Muslims believe in Ummat Wahida. I mean the United Nation of Islam. Somehow we tell. And if we want to establish that nation, we should get connected together, and we work hard in this path. I mean that if we work hard but not connected together, we might do some wrong things, or we might do some repeated things. But if we can get connected together and try to follow the path that the Rahbari said, Ayatollah Khamenei, I mean, we can get what we want. If our power, maybe as a single power, is not too much, but if we get connected, our power grows and our voice gets louder, and all around the world can hear us. In those moments, we can achieve our goals, and our goals is to prepare prepare the world for zuhur and have a nice life for all of the people. And if we get connected and uh, we have this power to we have this power, I believe that this happens. In Arba'in, we can see the real meaning of kindness between Muslims in Iraq. Unfortunately, we don't have it this year, but uh, in those times, the Muslims are very kind together. I think they think that the other Muslims' desires are like their family. They protect them, they feed them, and they try to do whatever they can for them. And if we continue this way of life, it's the lifestyle of the Islam, and you should be very careful for your brothers and sisters, for Muslims brothers and sisters. We have a nice word, and I think that the zuhur took place in that moment.
Inshallah. Ms. Narjis, please answer the question I have asked you before. I would like to know your opinion.
As a revolutionary organization, I think that as Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky said, and she explained that quite well, that we can expose the evil agenda. We can expose the conspiracies that a Zionist regime are taking place. We can make an environment of harmony in our society, and we can invite people, we can unite all the people in such a way that that our land will not be used in any cause for the Zionist evil objectives. And I think that people will stand against any conspiracy in our region.
Okay, so we can should expose the conspiracies of the Zionist regimes. My next question is to Ms. Masooma. That what is the importance and impact of youth and student organization in current Muslim uprising and revolutionary movements, which is actually the extended version of Imam Hussein's movement?
Thank you, Sahar. Firstly, the fact that the youth organization, they comprise of students, be it girls, be it boys. They are the people who belong to the generation Y and generation Z. So we are the people, Gen Y and Gen Z. You can call them as the catalyst of change in the society because of multiple facts. Firstly, the young people today, they are quite vocal. They do not compromise on anything. What they believe in, if they believe that this is the right thing, they will go after it, no matter they'll have to, even if they have to sacrifice their life for it. First. Secondly, the youth today, generation again, the millennials and Gen Z, we have the power of social media with us. Whatever we believe in, whatever our thoughts are, we can propagate them around the world within a wink of an eye. So we have the power within us, the power of our belief, the power of our vocalness. And on the other hand, we have the agent, the biggest, we have the support from social media as well on multiple channels, be it Facebook, be it Instagram, be it Snapchat. So I think the youth organizations today, being the most vocal and the most powerful, we also have a lot of responsibilities on our shoulders as well. For instance, if today something is going wrong, for example, if I talk about my country, Pakistan, poverty is rampant in my country. A lot of people, the young children, they are deprived of education. Every one child in five children in Pakistan, they are malnourished. So these are the real world problems that we are facing. As we discussed this thing earlier, that the stand of Imam Hussain is not only about just coming out in the battlefield and fighting the evil. Obviously, the main factor behind the struggle is to fight the evil in the battlefield. But if we see from a greater perspective, being a youth organization, being part of youth organization, it's imperative for us to stand for the evils that are faced by our own fellow countrymen. That's how we can transcend or translate the message of Imam Hussain, which is in our heart, into our actions as well. And if anyone asks us that you are okay, you are a citizen of Pakistan or whatsoever, you are a Muslim, country, why you are working for the greater good of the people. So you can proudly exclaim to them, right? Because Hussain inspires me to work for the greater good and not just think about who are working or who are.
Okay, so youth are the catalyst of change and they are vocal now and they want to work for the change of their society. My question is to Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky that how important it is for you to take interest in politics.
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Can you?
I just want to ask you that how important it is for you to take interest in politics, in politics of their own
Um,
country and in international politics as
hmm, okay, I understand. I do believe since overall politics, and politics do determine what happens in a lot of many aspects of our day-to-day lives. And Islam has never been unpolitical. Islam is a political religion in itself. It addresses everything in human life, and politics is one of them. And so, therefore, I believe that if it's very important for youth to take part in politics in whatever capacity that may be, to take interest in it, should be aware of the political state of things in where they are and also in other places. That's very, very important. I don't believe I don't think a person can holistically practice Islam without taking any interest in anything political whatsoever.
well.
So it's that important for especially the youth, because if you are young now, it is you're setting sort of the path, or you're following the path to whatever is going to be your future and the future of wherever you find yourself. You understand?
Yes,
And so it's that important to do.
Islam promotes politics as well. And now I would like to ask Ms. Mahjobeh, please tell briefly about the working of your organization.
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
Yes, kindly tell us briefly about the working of your organization.
Okay, our organization name is the Eduardo Agnelli Islamic Organization. And the main reason of establishing this organization is to know the new Muslim people. And we want to connect with the new Muslim all around the world and ask them why Islam is their choice. And in the middle of our question, we can understand that why Islam is the religion that attracts the other people and what is so attractive for them. For example, as you know, lots of people that become Muslim, they are women. Um, Despite of the media that say that women right is not supported in Islam, the majority of new Muslims are women. And what is so attractive for them is the women rights in Islam. And when we express and when we express their um, meeting with the others in the media, lots of people can get attracted in Islam and the real image of that.
Okay, so you are saying that most of the new Muslims are women all around the world. And I just want to ask you that how Lady Zainab Salamullah Alaiha inspires these new Muslim ladies.
Can you,
That,
Lady
let
Zainab
me
Salamullah
explain
alayha?
it. G. How Lady Zainab Salamullah Alaiha inspires the new Muslims all around the world, specifically the ladies you have been talking
Okay.
to, you have been sitting with.
Okay. I can refer to one of my new meeting with one of them that was from England. She said that she was completely alone after she became Muslim. her family left her because he chose to be a Muslim. So every time that she was so alone and feel so lonely, and she felt that she cannot stand anymore, she think of Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha, and she said to herself that am I losing my brother? Am I losing my son? Am I losing lots of my family in one day? And got taken prison. No, I'm free, and I'm healthy, and Islam can lead me to the better life and the greater good.
Inshallah. My question is to Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky. Please tell briefly about your movement, specifically the role of students in Nigeria, as you have been the students' leader of Nigeria.
First of all, on the Islamic movement is something that started up to about 40 years back in the late 70s to early 80s. And this is a movement that started actually with students. It was started by my father, and at the time he was a student, and it was something that started within a campus of a university. Because they witnessed the state of things in the country and noticed that, them as young Muslims needed to, advocate for the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also figure out how to get people to understand that an Islamic system is something that we can go back to as it was for our people historically. If you know about Nigeria's history, of course, we were colonized, and so prior to colonization and post-colonization, we ended up with a lot of, I'd call them just basically colonial legacy, which is one of the reasons why they started the Islamic movement back then. And this is a movement that has grown so big and now has maybe the following of millions of people within Nigeria. And as a result, we have different aspects of the Islamic movement covering different things. Since specifically this is a student program, I will just focus on that. We have the Academic Forum, for example, which is an organization for students and also other people in academia, including lecturers and professors and people who work in academia, basically, but much more prominently students, because they are the higher number in that field, obviously. And also the Youth Forum, which is a forum for youth, which covers activities for youth in just basically youth in society, not necessarily people that are in academia as well. And also the Abu Fadl Abbas Foundation, which focuses on figuring out ways that youth can participate in different activities, different Islamic activities within the society overall, be it charity activities and things of that nature, and or educational programs and things like that. So I think that is as much as I can try and summarize overall that. Thank you very much.
That is actually quite attractive. Ms. Masooma, kindly tell briefly about the working of who is Hussain all around the world, specifically.
Thank you, Sahar. So who is Hussain.org? It's a social justice and action group. It was founded in the year 2012 in London. It was founded by members of the youth who were professionals doing their jobs, who were studying. So after 1 year, Who is Hussain was launched. This campaign, because of the name, because of its message, obviously the name of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, it gained popularity, and people around the globe, they sent in the applications to expand the movement around the globe. So within 1 year, this campaign that started from London, it went global. And in the year 2013, the first chapter of Who is Hussain in Pakistan, that is in Karachi city, it was founded. And now as I speak to you, in the year 2020, we have expanded to Alhamdulillah 11 cities within Pakistan, and more than 66 regions of the world Who is Hussain is currently operational in. So the details about the organization can be found out in the website as well. But the main theory or the main working or the main objective or main story behind our campaign is that we want to tell everyone that the example of Imam Hussain, the exemplary life led by Imam Hussain, and obviously his martyrdom in the battlefield of Karbala, is an example for us, is a role model for us, and we can drive multiple lessons from it. And after having inspired ourselves, we need to take a stand on in our own personal capacity as well. For instance, in Pakistan, our teams working in 11 city chapters, they are working in 4 core areas. Firstly, we are sponsoring education of the children. And again, we are helping out different communities, the work or we are not only benefiting the Shia community, we are benefiting everyone, every human being. We are working in the field of education. We are helping out the poor people set up their own business so that they have a sustainable income for them. We are also helping out the marginalized communities with the help in medical facilities as well. Like recently, we organized a camp in a Hindu temple where we helped out the people of Hindu community with the medical facilities, with the medical checkups and tests and medicines and all. So up till now, we have organized thousands of charity events as well. And in the last, our most core and the most important area of working is the environmental change. We have planted more than 9,000 saplings in overall Pakistan, and our mission is to contribute to Prime Minister's billion tsunami tree campaign as well. So basically, if you see that who is Hussain, you can call who is Hussain as a little nursery of Hussainiyat. We are teaching people to follow the values of Imam Hussain in your own personal capacity, and then go on and tell others what Imam Hussain stood for. And maybe you even don't need to tell others. The people themselves, they'll see someone working as an ambassador of Imam Hussain. Maybe they'll ask themselves, who is Hussain and why are you doing good for the society? Who was your leader and why is Hussain inspiring you?
Your leader is Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Moving towards Ms. Narjis, please tell briefly about the working of Imamia Students Organization Pakistan Girls Wing.
Imamia Students Organization Pakistan was established in 1972. Talking about the women wing, girls wing, it was established in 1989. Imamia Students Organization Pakistan is basically inviting the youth of Pakistan to work for the path of Ahl Bayt. Imamia Student Organization Pakistan Girls Wing is gathering the students on one platform to work for the ultimate goal, the goal that is to work for the Zuhur of Imam Zamana Jalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. ISO Pakistan is basically working for the betterment of the society. We are working since 1972 for the students of Pakistan. We are working so that the students can understand the difference between the haq and batil, and they can prominently send the cause of Imam Hussain and the Ahl Bayt alayhi salam.
Okay, Ms. Narjis, as we have seen that all the organizations are specifically working on education. So why education and why working on education is important for us to achieve the ultimate goal?
As Rahbar-e-Muazzam Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei has mentioned in his several speeches that the youth is the one that we should work on. The youth is the hope for the country. So the education is the main key to work on the youth, and Imamia Student Organization Pakistan is also working on the education sector as well, to gather the students all over Pakistan to work for Ahl Bayt alayhi salam.
Okay, please tell us about the working style of ISO Pakistan.
Imamia Student Organization Pakistan is currently, if I specifically talk about the girls wing, we are right now we have 13 divisions in different cities of Pakistan, and we have more than 1,000 members who are working night and day for the students' education, for the children who are studying in school. We are arranging scholarships for different students. We are helping them in their education. However, we are trying our best so that people here in Pakistan can can what can I say, that we can bring all the people on one platform.
Okay. Moving towards Ms. Mahjobeh, my question is to say same for you, for all of you. First of all, I want answer from Ms. Mahjobeh that how Imam Hussain alayhi salam inspires you in your revolutionary work and movement to progress towards their ultimate goal. How Imam Hussain inspires you.
Imam Hussein is one of the main role model that we can follow in our life, because he showed us when the basic of Islam is in danger, you should sacrifice everything you've got to save the true meaning of Islam. I think that Imam Hussein taught us that we should stand in front of oppression and try our best to make a world a better place for everyone. And in this way, we should we should not get tired and not get disappointed, because all of these are our test, and it's gonna get finished one day. And if you uh, could do whatever it's in your potential, uh, uh, and use your all capacity, you don't need to worry for anything. Everything is saved in the God's and in the gods, and God knows everything, and God sees everything. And no matter how hard it is, you can have a good faith and a strong faith, and you can continue the right path, and after all, you get rewarded in the other world.
Inshallah, we will get rewarded, and we should not get tired, and we should ready for the test God is asking for. Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky, I want to ask you the same question that how Imam Hussain inspires you in your movement. That we are seeing that you all are currently struggling and even struggling very hard.
Um, I believe that actually, just like Sister Mahjobeh says, you know, one of the main ways that we find inspiration in Imam Hussain, that I personally also find inspiration in Imam Hussain, is that it's a reminder to have resolve in what we're doing, you know, to be able to stand firm, to be able to stand firm in what I have, for example, resolved to do, whatever that may have been. Because, you know, his stance in Karbala teaches that. It teaches us that kind of steadfastness and willing to, you know, stay on his feet, stay on what he's trying to do, regardless of the test that came his way in that situation. I believe that's the main thing that I would say personally. How I find inspiration, and I'm saying that's one of the first things that comes to mind for me.
Okay, moving towards Ms. Masooma.
So, Imam Hussain alayhi salam inspires me in multiple ways. As I said, that Karbala is multifaceted. You can relate to Karbala, you can get inspired from Karbala in so many ways. But the most important element of this entire movement of Karbala that has inspired me the most is the fact that please don't be humiliated, don't be afraid of the humiliation, don't be afraid of when the people laugh at you, or when people question your credibility, or when people question your thoughts, and when people question your aims and your plans. People might try to, break your hope, people might try to break your courage, or people might try to distort your resolve that you have for the greater good of the society. So don't be afraid. And secondly, Imam Hussain alayhi salam has inspired me, or has taught me the lesson that we need to be empathetic to the people, towards the people around us. We should not be thinking about our selfish motives. Instead, we should think about anything while keeping ourselves in others' shoes as well. That's when you can feel the pain of the other person. And once you feel the pain of the other person, or once you are able to feel pain of the oppressed in your heart, then it lights up the fire. As you mentioned at this very beginning of this program, you said that there exists a fire in the heart of every Hussaini because of the martyrdom of Imam Hussain that shall never cool off. So the question is, how can we light up this fire? We can light up this fire once we try to be Hussaini in the real sense, in terms of our own actions, once we try to be empathetic, and once we feel the pain of the oppressed in our own heart. That's when we'll get the power to take a stand following the footsteps of Imam Hussain. And once we begin our movement, and once we begin following Imam Hussain in our own life, then I don't think there is any way going back or stepping back. And I don't think that once we take the name of Imam Hussain, there is no power in the world except Allah Almighty who can stop us. So just be resilient in the face of all odds, even if it means you standing alone. Just be resilient and hopeful. This is the lesson of Imam Hussain, that we, as an organization, as all the entire team, we follow this motive.
Just be resilient. Moving towards Ms. Narjis, how Imam Hussain inspires you in your revolutionary work and to achieve your ultimate goal.
I think that Imam Hussain inspires me to stand against the injustice of the society. Imam Hussain inspires me, even if it takes everything to sacrifice. As Imam Hussain said, that a man like me does not pay allegiance to a man like him. He doesn't said that me Hussain will not pay allegiance to Yazid. This quote applies even after 1400 years. We were not there in the battle of Karbala 1400 years ago, but we are here. The battle of Karbala is still on. We can stand against the injustice that is taking place in Palestine, Yemen, Iraq, Syria, Nigeria, Kashmir. We can stand against the injustice all around the world. And Imam Hussain inspires me to stand against the injustice and all the odds taking around the world.
Okay, moving towards Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky, that we have seen that you have sacrificed a lot for this Islamic movement. What lesson did you personally take from Sayyida Zainab's suggestions?
One of the most, I think, interesting aspects of Sayyida Zainab's, struggle after Imam Hussain was, I remember the story of when she was asked about what she thought of the scenery, and she said she didn't see anything but beauty. And I personally think that was one of the most powerful things she had said in that situation, because it goes to show you that in her mind, no matter how hard that was, the situation that she witnessed, with her family being killed one by one, and the horror of it all, she saw the beauty of it all. No matter as much as harsh as it looked to everyone else, she saw the beauty of it all. And there's this thing that, for me personally, my dad always reminds me of this. He always says, nothing evil ever happens to a mu'min. Nothing bad ever happens to a mu'min. So even if something bad happens to you, it's actually good. And I'd say that one of the lessons in everything that has happened with us, no matter how painful it may have felt at the moment, or anything of that nature, in some of them we see the workings of the aftermath of it. Some of the incidences we can almost clearly say, oh yeah, we see what is good in this situation. We see what is good in this incidences. You understand? And some we may not do so, But having trust in Allah's wisdom is something that also I have learned from this, from all the ordeal. You know, remembering that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never, first of all, you know, throw at you any kind of adversity that, you know, I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never throw at us any adversity that we cannot handle. And so if we are going through it, it must be because we can go through it, and there is something in that. I say that's some of the biggest lessons that comes to mind when I think of Sayyidah Zainab, because, you know, she was, her struggle afterwards were all examples of these things, these lessons, if you look at it that way, I believe. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I think the sister is out of the...
Yes, I think Sister Seher has lost connection.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, there might be some internet connection issue. Moving towards the conclusion of our program, I would like you to all to share a message for our viewers, starting from Ms. Masooma Zaidi. A short message for our viewers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity for speaking up on this platform, firstly. And a little message to everyone is a saying of Abu Abdullah Imam Hussain alayhi salam, that uh, help that person even if the person does not expect a help from you. So go out, be a Hussaini in your real life, and help out everyone, even the person who does not expect you to be good to himself or herself. So that's a little message from my side.
Ms. Mahjobeh.
It is my honor to get connected with you and know my sister here. And I want to say to something to my sister Suhaila Zakzaky, that we are with you and we are worried about your father, and we do whatever we can do to help you and help him to get free. And after that, I think the most important message of Imam Hussein is to not get disappointed and not get tired. And God sees everything, God knows everything, and and we should get connected together and get a stand in front of operation until God helps us and see our efforts to get the victory, and inshallah zuhur happens.
Inshallah. Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. Since we're coming to an end of this program, thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed from listening to all these sisters, and I hope that we have all taken away something with us from this program. I would say that a little message that I might have would be that we should always look to Imam Hussain and his struggle. We should always look to that and learn from that whatever we can. But most importantly, I think the most important message in that is his resolve, the resolve that he has showed, him and his family showed, their commitment to taking a path that will please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also in that path standing up against injustice and also trying to fix what they saw was wrong. It teaches us that when we see something that is wrong, even the ability to notice the wrong is possibly the indication that we might be able to find something that we can do. And so therefore, I hope that every one of us would find what we see wrong and are able to do something about towards fixing that, just like Imam Hussain alayhi salam did with his mission in Karbala.
Inshallah. Moving towards Ms. Narjis. What would be the message you want to give to our viewers?
First of all, thank you very much for letting me be a part of this program and sharing this stage with all of these amazing people. As Ms. Mahjobeh explained and mentioned that to Ms. Suhaila, that the people of Pakistan are also with you and in this situation, and we are definitely worried for you. The one message that I want to give is that we should not be afraid of this time. We all are working in our capacity for the Zuhur of Imam Zamana, and we are waiting for the Zuhur. Each and every person should work, and we should work even harder for the Zuhur of Imam Zamana.
Inshallah, we all will work together to get this ultimate goal of Zuhur Imam Zaman Ajalallahu Ta'ala Faradahu Sharif. I'm really thankful to Ms. Suhaila Zakzaky, Ms. Mahjobeh Akhavan, Ms. Narjis Zehra, and Ms. Masooma Zaidi for joining us. Thank you very much, all of you. We had a very informative discussion, and I am very sure about it that our viewers have enjoyed and learned a lot from our panelists. In the end, I would like to sum up with the special prayers that may Allah hasten the reappearance of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. May Allah shower His blessings upon the leader of Islamic resistance, Imam Khamenei, and success all the resistance movement of the world, especially Kashmir, Palestine, Nigeria, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Lebanon. Thank you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.